Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Victoire. I am your host, Emir. Before I begin today's broadcast, I ask that you kindly subscribe to our channel, like, and share our videos. It truly helps us spread these inspirational stories near and far. Today's guest is undeniably one of the biggest, most powerful men in the entire world of professional wrestling. In the 1980s, he and a tag team partner dominated the tag team ranks. In the early 1990s, he went into singles competition and likewise dominated. A true force to be reckoned with. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest, the Warlord. Victoire. Sponsored by California's own Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market for all your organic produce, healthy foods, and supplement needs. California's own trusted tattoo company and mobile body art bus, 760-645-0485. If you're looking to advertise with style, then look no further than one of Southern California's premier advertising magazines, Your Villa Magazine, 951-990-8855. Catch up with all the latest news in the Fallbrook and Temecula areas with Valley News, myvalleynews.com, 760-723-7319. Wear casual clothing that makes you feel like $1 million. Or, if you are seeking custom t-shirts, look no further than J Money Clothing, 760-367-8566. Palm Springs, California, Indian Wells, California, Rancho Mirage, California. They are all considered a destination hotspot, a second home haven. With an exquisite record of negotiating the finest deals for clients, Lowell Folsom III and Associates always deliver. Contact Lowell today at 760-391-2504. Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Victoire. And for those of you who don't know, Victoire means victory in French. And this is exactly why I created this show, to share the victories of superstars in the world of professional wrestling, such as my guest today, one half of one of the most dominant and powerful tag teams in the 80s. Ladies and gentlemen, the Warlord.
How you doing, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day today.
Yeah, I hope we are. I hope you are too. Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, Warlord, thank you for being a guest and for joining us today. I want to take you back down a trip along memory lane and really get to know the man behind the persona of the Warlord. So, to begin with, can you share with us a little bit about your childhood? What kind of a child you were, what your dreams were then, in your family life?
Uh, I was pretty lucky, man. I was born in Madison, Wisconsin.
Mm.
I went ahead and my dad became a engineer at the University of Wisconsin, got an engineering degree, and we actually moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, when I was like about I think 4 or 5 years old, maybe quicker, maybe three.
Mm.
And we bought a mobile home. A lot of fun there,
Yeah.
and went ahead and I lived in mobile home for probably about 5 years. Got a brother and sister, and we my parents, trying to find a good job. It was tough at that time,
Yeah.
And like I say, we were very poor. Went ahead and when we'd watch TV, we had to look through our window and watch a neighbor's TV.
Oh, really?
Watch TV. We couldn't afford a TV and that stuff,
Oh.
It was very, very tough growing up in that.
Mm.
But I guess the tougher it is, the more it inspires you in life that
Yeah.
you want to do something and become something.
Mm-hmm.
It pushes you harder to know what you don't want in life and what you want to try getting in life.
Yeah.
And then eventually my dad got a very good job at Honeywell Defense Systems, which was the biggest contractor for the government in this country for defense products and that stuff.
Yeah.
And then my mom got a job with Control Data, which was a rising company at that time, very, very big.
Hmm.
And we moved to the west side of Bloomington, which was very prosperous.
Okay.
And got over there and, started moving on from there and that stuff. And got into amateur wrestling. I played all the sports. I
Yeah.
played hockey, wrestled. I played soccer.
Okay.
Very good at soccer. Very, very good at AAU wrestling. I was a 4-time national champion, 5th through 9th grade, or 5th through actually 8th grade in AAU competition for wrestling.
Really? Wow.
So that gave me a big background. In fact, in 5th grade, I pinned all 7 of my opponents under 30 seconds in Missoula, Montana at the AAU championships. And I got the all-around award. Yeah. And when I came back, I was actually put on the AWA show with Vern Gagne.
Really?
When I was in 5th grade. Yeah. He came up to congratulate me for all those the pins and then the of course having that trophy from over there, that was really cool because I mean AWA was my show in Minneapolis. I watched AWA religiously growing up, with Nick Bockwinkel, all those guys and that stuff, Vern Gagne, all of them, so it was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So you could safely say that your dream was to go in wrestling at this point.
I love wrestling. It's just I was wrestling all year round.
Yeah.
Which is very, very tiring all the time. Plus, trying to play the other sports also. Plus going to school. Yeah. It was very, very hard. And by the time I got to 9th grade, I just kind of got burnt out a little bit, it took a wear and tear on me.
Yeah. So what happened then at 9th grade? What were your plans then? Did they change towards something else?
Actually, I got into soccer.
Okay.
Which I was on a traveling soccer team. The Bloomington Mustangs, they were called.
Okay.
Very, very good soccer team. We went to Canada. We traveled to Canada. We traveled everywhere, man. We were a very, very good team.
Yeah.
Then went ahead and started playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Became a good basketball player. I enjoyed that a lot. So I just tried some other sports out for a while to see what happened. I never even played football until I was a senior in high school.
Oh, really? That's surprising because of your size.
I didn't play football, and thank God I was lucky enough to be a good enough at it that I got a lot of scholarship offers, and I ended up getting a scholarship for football.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Now I was going to go back to the soccer there because you had to be very fast on the field. So presumably back then you were a lot leaner, Oh, yeah. Line. Yeah.
Yeah. Tall, lean.
Yeah. Tall, lean. Who were some of your favorite soccer teams at the time?
The one I've always liked, of course, is Manchester United.
Oh yeah, man.
There you gotta love Manchester United,
Yeah.
Real Madrid.
Oh yeah.
Great team. Yeah. There's just so many great teams in Europe and that stuff. So many great teams.
Yeah, it's the pastime of us Brits. I tell you that big time.
And now I'm lucky enough that we have Messi here in South Florida now. Okay. He plays about the stadium is about 10 minutes from where I work down here. And Messi plays down here. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you're still a big fan today then?
Oh yeah, I watch soccer all the time.
Yeah.
Every time World Cup comes on, I love watching it. I love watching that.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge. I remember as a kid in England, it's so huge in the UK.
Yes, it is.
You ever traveled to the UK to watch soccer out there?
No, I haven't watched it. Actually, we were there a little over a year ago, April, for the Love of Wrestling.
Okay.
The big signing, and Manchester United played one night, but we were signing that night.
Oh.
So I couldn't. But they're playing like 10 minutes away from where we were. The stadium was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, just jam packed. What a beautiful stadium to have too.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous.
There are some gorgeous places out there in the UK, but that being one of them. So you get your football scholarship. Now you're going to college. So what else were you studying at college?
I was actually into marketing and management.
Okay.
Which, to really tell you the truth, is very boring. Very boring.
Yeah.
At that time there wasn't, forensics. There was, which I would have been very interested in. That would have been a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Wasn't really around at that time yet. Kinesiology was very interesting. I love learning about the human body, the human bones, how the muscular system works, how everything comes together, and that stuff. Of course, being in lifting, it really helps if you know that stuff.
Yeah.
you know, just and of course, just the college life. You get away from the parents,
Yeah.
you get to have fun, and that, so it was kind of fun that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what about supporting yourself? Obviously, you got a scholarship there, but then when you're coming out of college at that point, what did you look at in terms of work?
At that time, I was actually doing landscaping,
Okay.
with hard work.
Yeah.
That's a tough, tough job, backbreaking and everything else.
Yeah.
Um, but I had a real nice boss in the daytime, really, really nice person.
Mhm.
And then on the weekends, I would do security at clubs.
Okay. Yeah. So you're already gaining size at this point, then, I presume.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So when did you discover the love for bodybuilding? Because obviously I mean, you could have been on stage for sure.
Yeah. I just like lifting weights.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed lifting the weights and that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, it wasn't really to do bodybuilding or anything else. I just enjoyed lifting. It made me feel good. It was good for my mind. It was good for my heart.
Yeah.
Um, and anything that makes you feel good is a very good thing.
Yeah. And maybe express that a little bit because I agree with you a lot there, Warlord. It's not just about what it does for the body, but it's the mind. The mind.
Yes,
It's so important, especially for males, indeed.
yes,
Uh,
yes,
you know.
yes. The mind is such a strong thing in that stuff.
Hmm.
As I tell so many people, stress is the biggest killer in this world. It's
Hmm.
a silent killer. It's a killer you don't see.
Yeah.
And if you let stress just keep getting to you, it'll take you down to finally just wears your heart down and that stuff.
Yeah.
Best thing you can do is find something that makes you happy.
Mhm.
You have to find something that's going to make you happy inside. That all those endomorphins just go through your body all the time, and they make you feel so good in that.
Yeah.
Whether it's running, whether it's playing with your dogs,
Mhm.
whether just whatever, it doesn't even matter. If you want to plant a garden,
Yeah.
whatever makes you happy is a great thing in this, especially today in this world.
Yeah, especially. And what do you think about the importance of doing stuff with your hands? Because we know now a lot of the kids, all that's in their hand is a cell phone. So
Yes,
the importance,
or video game,
yeah,
or
or a
video
video
game.
game. But
Yeah.
how do you stress the importance of doing something physical?
Listen, that's one of the most important things, man. When I was a kid, I used to go. I used to get on a bike in the summertime. My mom and dad be working.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to jump on my bike. I'm going to go to Minneapolis. And this is a ride from where I lived.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of trails that connected it.
Mhm.
And Minneapolis, if you've ever been to Minneapolis, it's all lakes and they're all connected by bike trail. So
Beautiful.
as soon as I got to Minneapolis, I could go on all these bike trails around all these lakes in Minneapolis during the day. And I got so much exercise all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I just developed my legs so much doing all that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And plus doing all that, it keeps your mind going too all the time because you're always watching everything all the time. You're not just laying around the house, being lazy, doing nothing. Nothing's going through your mind, nothing's going through your body.
Right.
And then we used to play all kinds of sports with my buddies and that stuff, whether it be baseball in the
Mhm.
neighborhood or basketball in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That was our generation.
Yeah.
We were always doing something. And unfortunately, I mean, listen, video games are fun, yes,
Mhm.
but you get no physical activity from it.
Right.
Mentally, it helps you think,
Mhm.
but physically, it does nothing for you.
Right.
And that's why these poor kids are so heavy now,
Yeah.
out of shape.
Mhm.
Everything else in that stuff, it's fine. I've always said you can play your video game, but this is how much exercise you got to have today.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I raised one of my grandsons, and I said you got to exercise this much today, and then later on you can play some video games.
Yeah.
But you have to exercise.
Yeah, it's so vitally important, so vitally important. It also combats depression too. I mean, depression, so
Yes,
I think if
yes,
not utilizing the body the way it was designed to be utilized.
yes,
And so it's very important. And obviously you're a huge advocate for being physical and it shows you're very positive. Today you're still positive and everything, and that keeps you going. That's very important. Um, so tell us now a little bit, going back. So you're working, you're doing some landscaping, you've got out. Is this while you're at college or just right after college?
no, that was right after college.
Okay, so right after college. So now you're in your early 20s. Are you ring ready? Are you as big as what you became, or are you still progressing?
No, I was big. I was just progressing yet.
Just
I
still
was still
progressing.
progressing. Oh yeah, still progressing.
Still progressing. So you're still finding your way in life. And now, so when does the pro wrestling come back and beckon you back?
Actually, I used to train at a gym in Plymouth, Minnesota called The Gym.
Okay.
And it was like it's like the Golds in Venice Beach
Oh yeah.
up in Minnesota. Okay. Anybody that somebody goes there to train. So as I was trainer, that's where Animal and Hawk, when they would come home, would come to that gym because they were part owners.
Okay.
And they would train there. And Animal would always stare at me all the time.
Yeah.
You know, he'd look and look, and finally one day he came up and started talking to me.
Yeah.
He said, "Brother," he said, "man, you ever thought about being a professional wrestler?" I said, "No, nah, not really."
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
He said, "Man, you got the size for it, man." He says, "You should think about it." I said, you know, I don't know on that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it took about 6 times. And then the sixth time, he finally kind of talked me into it.
Yeah.
I kept thinking about it, you know, and I'd watch AWA. And of course, the WWF was out by then.
Yeah.
On cable TV, and watching those guys. And finding out about the 6th time, I said, "You know what? I'll give it a shot."
Mm-hmm.
And he set me up with Eddie Sharkey, of course, trained all the big names in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And got me some Eddie Sharkey to start training.
Okay. And how did it go? Was it an easy transition for you to just start training, or was it a little bit difficult, ring rust, what have you?
No, not at all, because being an athlete, there was really none like that. It's just the biggest thing about it is, the hardest thing about professional wrestling is to learn the psychology.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the moves.
Right.
It's the psychology. Why, when, where, how you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
It's not just doing all these moves, boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. Actually telling a story to the people that the people follow and the people love.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that a lot of, yourself, one of the legends, a lot of the legends have said the same thing.
Yep.
And I grew up in that generation where we were watching you and you guys told a story. And there is a significant difference between what you guys were doing and what we see now. I see
big difference.
Big difference. Like I said, I think that you're right with that. If you engage the crowd and tell a story, they're more invested in the characters and what's going on. And it's more of that entertainment that we were, trying to find. That's what we go to.
The thing is the people want to be a part of the match.
Yeah.
They want to be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah.
In today's world, they're doing all these big moves that just boom, 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 boom. Everybody's trying to do a bigger move than the next person. And nobody slows it down to let the people get involved.
Mm-hmm.
If you let the people get involved, that's what the people want. They want to be a part of that match. They want to yell and scream. They want to call you names. They want to do this. They want to do that. Especially if you're a bad guy, that's a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And also selling as well. Explain the importance of that.
Yeah. There's no one sells no more. Everybody, you could give a guy the biggest move in the world, and when you turn around, the guy's up, right? It's like, wow, I guess that didn't mean nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really, it's amazing what they bounce back from now. But going back to your training, so how long was it that you were in training before they actually put you out there for a match?
I was maybe 3 months, probably 3 or 4 months. My very first show was at First Avenue, Princess Place in Minneapolis. It was his thing that he had that movie Purple Rain on First Avenue.
Yeah,
that's where I wrestled.
Oh wow.
Very, very unique in that. So, I mean, you're not a big crowd in that. So, I mean, we're a bunch of nobodies in that stuff, But still, it was just cool to have that for your very first venue you ever wrestled in your life.
Yeah, very cool.
And that was it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And what was your persona at that time? What was your name?
Actually, I didn't even have Warlord back then or none. I went by Terry Penske.
Terry
Terry Penske. What name?
Yeah, Terry Penske.
Terry Penske.
Do you remember your costume? Do you remember what that looked like?
Yeah, it was just kind of like just the regular shorts, like they wear the tights.
Yeah.
Just long laced up boots.
Yeah.
Took you like an hour just to goddamn tie them up. It was ridiculous. But that's basically all it was.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I look like a part lumberjack.
Oh, okay.
At that time.
Yeah, gosh. Were Hawk and Animal involved in that and getting you that match?
No.
Okay.
No.
That came later down the line.
That came later.
All right. So how long were you on the independent circuit then at that time?
I did that for probably about maybe a year.
Okay.
And then Animal came to me and he said, you know what? He said, get some pictures done up, give them to me. I'm gonna bring them down to Dusty Rhodes in the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions.
Yeah.
And I got some pictures done. I gave it to him. He came back a week later. He said, they want you back. They want you down in Charlotte next week. I said, what? He said, yeah, they want you in Charlotte next week. I said, wow, man, that's fast.
Yeah.
He said, well, get everything ready, get everything done, man.
Yeah.
I'll see you next weekend down there.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, and jumped in my little 78 Sunbird that's all beat up. And went no air conditioning, going down to all that heat.
Gosh.
And took my trip down there.
Yeah.
Went down there.
Now, at the time, Warlord, was there anyone in your life? Were you married? Did you have a girlfriend?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did she come with you for that, or did she?
No.
Okay.
No, I went on my own for that.
Yeah. Okay. So when you got there, what was it like? You know, obviously meeting Dusty Rhodes, and now you're around the guys that you've been watching on TV. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was larger than life. I mean, I'd never been in front of many people and that stuff. And I'd only been in a ring a couple times. That's it. And all of a sudden, my very first show was a national TV one. They had about 2,500 people there, in the audience, packed. And I'm like, I just kept going back and forth to the bathroom, man.
Yeah.
I'm getting serious. I was so nervous. And thank God I had George South. George South is one of the best in the world for breaking in and that stuff. He'll make you look like $1 million.
Yeah.
And I went out there. I did 3 moves.
Yeah.
Boom, pinned him.
Yeah. Got
out. Went up to the side. Baby Doll was my manager, which was nice. And Dusty Rhodes came over to help me even get over even more at the time.
Yeah.
Dusty came out with us.
Oh.
And it made me like a star overnight, really quick.
Yeah.
Very, very nice of him in that. And it was a lot of fun, man. I still remember getting my first check for a week's work, and I looked at it. I flipped it over, and I had to flip it over again to see if it was really real, because I'd never made anything like that in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "My God, this is nice. This is easy. I like this job, man. This is a nice job."
Yeah.
I called my girlfriend in Minnesota. I said, "I'm getting you a plane ticket. You're coming down here."
Oh.
Yeah. And yeah, it was fun. It was very, very different. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that, because it was very nice of you to say that, hey, even I was nervous. Even a man of your stature was nervous. So how long did that? I mean, obviously you went back and forth in the bathroom, but how long did it take for you to get over that nervousness before?
Oh, it took a while. It just depended who you worked with.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, when you're working with the undercard guys, you're not as nervous.
Yeah.
When you start working with guys that have some clout. I had a match with Arn Anderson in Norfolk, Virginia, at the Norfolk Scope. And, of course, Arn, I consider one of the 10 best wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
Workers, incredible worker. And he could have made me look terrible because I was green. I was so green at that time. And I was so nervous going out there and that stuff. And Arn made me look like $1 million.
Yeah.
And to this day, every time I see Arn, I shake his hand and I thank him for that.
Yeah.
Because he did make me look like $1 million at that time.
Mm-hmm.
He could have made me look terrible. He could have taken advantage of me in a second, and I would have known what to do. I was too green at that time. I didn't know yet.
Yeah.
I did not know, but he made me look like $1 million because, he's smart. If he made me look like $1 million and he beat me, they made him even bigger yet.
Yeah.
Very smart. That's the psychology.
Yeah.
That's I think psychology right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very important. It's very important, again, in talking about giving back when someone is more proficient at something.
Yes.
To extend that and make that person look better, because it's again humble. It's a very humble move,
Yep.
Because we hear a lot.
It's the same as I worked with Dusty, and the same thing with him. He'd give you the elbow. He said, "Don't go down." Give you the elbow again. Don't go down. And finally, he'd wind up and get the big thing with his hands. He did the big super elbow, and then I take the bump. He said, "Take the bump now."
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot of stuff that way. And again, Dusty could have taken advantage of me. Dusty's been around forever.
Yep.
For a guy that didn't look great, anything else, he had one of the best ring charismas there ever was in the business. Yep. Whatever you gave him, he got it over. It didn't matter what. Yellow polka dot outfit, got it over.
Yep.
Give him a black girl manager, got over even bigger.
Yep.
It didn't matter what you did to Dusty, he got it over.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it sounds like you were very fortunate and blessed in that regard, because we heard a lot, like in the 80s, there was a lot of jealousy, a lot of sabotage and things like that. So you fell in with a nice group of guys that really handled you well to get you going.
Listen, the guys I was with, every single one of them was incredible. You know, like I say, these guys, you know, back then, you know, everybody had been through territories. So all these guys have been through all these different various territories. And when they finally come to a landing spot, they knew how to work everybody's style out there. You know, they had worked all the styles in every single territory, so they know how to come together and make it, and everybody could just have incredible matches.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had, listen, we all carry skeletons in our closet. You know, I'm not going to complain about somebody because I got my skeletons too. Okay. You know, I just want to go out there. I want to be with my brothers and that stuff, you know. I want to enjoy it with them and that stuff. You know, we work hard, we can have fun, we play hard and that stuff, and we enjoy life, and we get to go back to our families.
Yeah.
You know, that's most important.
Yeah. Yeah. Most important. Yeah. And at this time, Warlord, because you're talking about inspiring, and what you just said was very inspiring. So were you a heel or were you a baby face at that time when you first started?
When I first started, I was actually a baby face.
Okay.
I was a baby face down there. Yeah.
Okay. So did you get to see that, you know, because obviously you make a connection with the young kids. Did you see that right away with your character? Were you able to, do you have any moments when a kid came up to you and it just, you know, melted you or anything like that, you know, when you
Oh
was,
yeah, all the time and that stuff. You know, I mean, you know, kids are the greatest people in this business and that stuff. You know, you know, if the kids come, the parents come,
yeah,
and you know, anytime you can sign an autograph for a kid, if you have the time, you do it.
yeah,
If you got to put down your bags, you got a little bit of time, you put down your bags, you do it.
hmm
Because that kid will follow you forever and they'll remember it forever.
yeah,
And it's so important because, you know, without the fans, we're nobody. We're just big guys. We're like everybody else out there. But because of all those fans, it makes us who we are. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people forget when they get stardom. They forget that the people who are the ones that make them. Without those people, you're nothing.
right,
You're
right.
just another ordinary person.
Yep, yep, very true. And one of the things that you guys have is you have a massive platform. Like I said, you've reached generations. Now, I grew
Yep.
up watching you. I was 9, 10 years old when you were the Warlord with Harvey Whippleman. And you have such an influence, and it is a responsibility. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because, you know, it is important. I think if you're on an international platform, you need to take that time. It's a responsibility. And like you said, without the fans, there is no wrestling business.
Nope,
So,
there's no wrestling business at all.
you
Nope.
know, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because you've touched on a subject that I love to talk about. So now, after post, you know, your heavy wrestling career, how much have you been engaged with, perhaps like a Make a Wish the Foundation, or have you helped little kids or whatnot? Have you been involved in anything like that?
You know, it's hard because when we were wrestling,
Mhm.
we never had the opportunity. We were on the road so much. I mean, we were doing 320 days a year.
Yeah.
Literally, we had no time in my generation
Mhm.
to be able to get involved in it. So it would have been a lot of fun getting involved in that.
Yeah.
I did when I was in Kansas City because I was in just Kansas City at that time.
Mhm.
You know, you weren't traveling, you're just doing things around there, you know, not
Yeah.
an airplane every day. And one little girl really wanted to meet me. She had cancer.
Mhm.
And I went to her school and had lunch with her,
Mhm.
and all that. And I wore a bandana back then.
Yeah.
So I gave her my bandana to wear, you know, which she loved and that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it was really, really nice that day to be able to do that for her and make her feel good and all that, you know.
Yeah.
Sign some autographs for her and that. And, you know, just sad because about a month later she died,
Mm.
you know, but still just, I know that I got to be able to touch her,
Yeah.
to be able to talk to her,
Yeah.
to be able to be around her and that stuff. And it was enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah, that's wonderful that you were able to do that. And you can, you know, said you can do that. So let's go back now to again the beginnings now, and let's talk about the NWA a little bit there, because obviously now you meet your tag team partner, Sione, the Barbarian.
Mhm.
So how did that all come about?
You know, I remember the first time I ever came down to Charlotte, we trained at a gym called Living Well. And some the people had told me, oh, there's another big guy in there. He's Polynesian,
Mhm.
big guy in that stuff, And his wife comes all the time with their baby Joey. And Joe, they had him like in a basket. And this kid was so big, he had like his feet, arms hanging out of the he was such a big kid.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
to this day, he's a 320-pound kid. He's a big guy,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And it was so funny because I look, oh my God, what kind of person's this? And I saw Barb, and Barb had their traps up to the ears and that stuff, and just a monster.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I didn't know him at that time because he was a heel and I was a babyface. And then when I came back from, I they put me in Kansas City for a while. And when I came back from Kansas City, I just slowly I was a heel, and the territory had changed a lot. They weren't drawing anymore. Everything was just old now.
Mhm.
Nobody knew there. It was just really, really just run down.
Mhm.
So me and Barb started talking together. We started to become friends. And Animal comes by and he goes, you know what? Says, you guys should get together. You guys would be the perfect tag team to work with us.
Yeah.
You guys are bigger than us.
Mhm.
You guys could take us down. We've never been put down. You guys could lay us out and people believe it.
Yeah.
And it'll draw. And Animal's right.
Yeah.
He's exactly right, man. When we did that bench press contest in Greensboro, North Carolina, they sold that thing out, and there was a lot of people they turned away from that contest.
Yeah.
And we laid them out. You could hear a pin drop in that place.
Wow.
It was so quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people went crazy. Everywhere was sold out everywhere after that.
Yeah.
Animal was always right on just about almost everything, man. He really was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he definitely had a mind for it. Well, his brother had a mind for it too, So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it
Yeah.
must run in the family. At this time, did you guys already figured out the gimmick with the face paint and all that, or was just
No, not at that time yet. Barb had the face paint already.
okay?
I did. I didn't wear the face paint at all yet.
Okay.
The first time I started wearing face paint is when I went to WWF,
Okay.
and they wanted me to start wearing the face paint with Barb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that was a job and a half also.
Yeah.
That was not fun.
Yeah, you guys did. And then you dyed one half of your hair a certain
Yeah.
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 Uh,
Yeah.
and what about the name, the Powers of Pain? When did that come about?
That was actually in the NWA. I had done a move with Animal. I'd done this move many, many times with a lot of guys. I don't know, maybe just our size because we were such big people. And maybe with all the inertia coming down, that for somehow I put them over my shoulders and I kick my feet out and I go backwards. I land on him, and somehow my shoulder blade hit him in the eye and it broke his orbital.
Oh, wow.
Which I still can't figure to this day how I did it. I don't know. Like I said, I've done the move. After that, I never did the move again. I never did it again. I felt so terrible. And but it helped in actually bringing on the bench press contest and bringing on all that stuff because they showed the surgery. They showed all that stuff, how it hurt them and all that stuff, and it worked into the whole program,
Yeah.
And then Animal says, we're trying to go with a name, and Animal's with us. Walking, and Animal goes, you know what? Powers of Pain. Says, you guys look like Powers of Pain, man.
Yeah.
And he helped. He actually helped me with the Warlord name also in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
He helped me both those ways. Helped me with the Warlord and Powers of Pain both.
Gosh.
Both.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What a mind. What a mind. You got me thinking about that bench press competition there. So what was the poundage? What did you get up?
We were up to 500 at that time, which is no problem.
Yeah.
We could. There was. I would have easily done over 6. Barb would have done right about 6. Animal would have done right about 6. Hawk wasn't as strong as the rest of us.
Yeah.
But we had so much adrenaline going right then that day.
Yeah.
We were so pumped that day.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what we would have done that day? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a lot of adrenaline going.
Some strength. And what were you weighing in at that time?
That time I was about 320 at that time.
Gosh, 320.
320, yeah. Barb was about 305, maybe 310.
Gosh.
At that time, Animal was about 300.
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think Hawk was going about 275, if I
Wow.
remember right. Yeah,
And you're
big
all
guys.
big guys, and you're all approximately the same height, right? You see where you 6?
I was a little bit taller than Barb.
Mhm.
Barb was a little taller than Joe. And Hawk and me were the same height.
Okay. So
Hawk and me were the same height.
height?
Huh?
What's your height?
6'4".
Oh, 6'4". Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight. As I sit here, I imagine it. I'm barely about 203, 204, 300. I'm 6'3",
Yeah.
so I'm only an inch shorter. Gosh, that's a lot of size.
Yeah.
What kind
Yeah.
of what was your diet like at that time?
It was kind of just eat everything and eat all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so many people ask me that question.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, WWE, we were traveling so much
Mm.
that you were burning calories left and right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting up early in the morning, you're traveling on a plane, you're getting to another city and that stuff.
Mm.
You got to get a car, you got to get a hotel, you go to the gym, you're burning so much calories at that gym. You
Mm.
get back, you eat something, you go ahead, you do your show,
Mm.
you burn so much calories there again.
Yeah.
That night you're eating again. It's probably 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Anytime I'd have a layover on a plane, I'd find a place to try and go and get a nice little snack, a good snack or something.
Yeah.
Every single morning, no matter what time my flight was,
Yeah.
I would get up extra early and go get a big breakfast.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Always just putting food in my mouth all the time
Yeah.
because I'm just burning it constantly.
Yeah.
And to try and maintain in that size and that strength when you're traveling that much and using that much energy every day, it's very tough.
Yeah.
You really need that food intake.
Yeah. Very taxing because also with the sleep as well. I mean,
That's right. You don't get much sleep.
yeah, I must have had some sleep deprivation too. So
Oh yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
at this juncture, I'm going to stop and just say thank you, Warlord, for the sacrifice for entertaining us because that's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of effort that you put in there to make that character work and believable. Because you were like a super comic book superhero character.
We were comic book characters brought to real life that
Yeah.
you could touch, you could talk to, you
Yeah.
could be around. I mean, that's what made it so special.
Yep.
That's what made it special.
Yep. It was special. It was, to use the cliche, lightning in a bottle. It really was
Yes.
at that time.
Yes.
So let's go back to the NWA then. So you're in the NWA. Any memorable moments there? Your highlights during the NWA reign?
Um, I would say the bench press contest, definitely.
Mhm.
That might have been the biggest highlight just because it came out so incredible. It came out to a T. I mean, there wasn't one thing that was missed on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was as perfect as you could possibly get.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that, and I just enjoyed being around the guys and traveling with them.
Yeah.
They were a special, great group of guys.
Mhm.
I mean, you're around Sting, you're around Flair, you're around Arn Anderson, Arn Tully.
Mhm.
You're around Dusty, you're
Mhm.
around the Road Warriors, you're around Lex Luger.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just around such incredible people, that all became, such superstars or were superstars at that time. It was just so enjoyable.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. It was a remarkable time for pro wrestling. Absolutely remarkable. And the NWA was I mean, we didn't get to see much of it over in Europe. We were just, heavily laden with WWF. So,
Right.
but we never, obviously, as I grew up, I went back and I watched the NWA and WCW. It was impeccable. The
Yeah.
storylines, everything there, and the performances were
Well, the NWA was a very wrestle territory,
yeah,
whereas the WWE was more of a gimmick territory.
yeah,
Not as much wrestling. And that's what made both of them very special.
yeah,
Because the gimmicks were so cool in the WWE, especially, first time I ever saw Undertaker come out, I said, that's the coolest gimmick I've ever seen of all time.
oh yeah,
I've never seen, and there never will be another one like that in its life.
oh
That
yeah.
was one of a kind,
It was
you
one.
know. And then just to see the wrestlers, the wrestling
Mhm.
in the in the NWA, like Ric Flair,
Mhm.
Dusty Rhodes. I mean, these guys could go an hour match and keep the people entertained
Yeah.
the entire time.
Yep.
It was, I mean, an hour.
Yep.
And for Ric Flair, that was like nothing. He could be out partying the night before, and he'll still go an hour
That's him.
and be nothing.
Yeah.
Rick was just unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's superhuman right there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Gosh. So, all right. So we come up to the end of your NWA run. WWF come knocking. So how did that all come about?
Actually, it was Barb.
Mm-hmm.
He got a call from Grizzly Adams. He was a road agent for the WWF at that time, and they told him it was a Thursday night. We'd like to meet with you guys tomorrow morning because we know you guys are off tomorrow. You're not working till Saturday. And Barb said, okay. He said, fine. And Chris said, well, the tickets will be at the airport and you'll fly to Atlanta. And there'll be a limo there to pick you up and take you to where you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Barb gives me a call and said, Teddy, that's the way Barb talked. Teddy, we go to Atlanta tomorrow. I said, what? He says, we fly to Atlanta. We meet with WWE. I said, what? He says, they want to talk to us. Okay. All right. Where do you want, Barb? Let's do it. Yeah. So we flew over the next day, got in the car, go to the hotel right over by the airport. They give us the key, go to the room, open it up. And in the room was Vince, Hulk Hogan, and Pat Patterson. I'm like, wow. I'm just kind of looking. And Vince gave us a spiel. Mm-hmm. And Barb afterwards, he goes, when would you like us to start? Now, Barb never talked that much. Yeah. And he goes, when would you like us to start? I look at Barb, said, what? And they said, next Monday. I said, this is Friday. Yeah. Well, we'd like you guys to come in next Monday. Yeah. Barb goes, we be there. Well, we're going to be okay, Barb. I guess we're going to be there. Wow. That's awful quick, Yeah. And so anyway, we had a show the next day in Baltimore at the Civic Arena. And the place was sold out. Now, we had the 6-man belts with Ivan Koloff. We had the 6-man belts. Okay. and we were wrestling Dusty Rhodes, Hawk, and the Road Warriors manager. We were wrestling them. Okay. And we go to the ring, and I didn't know that this person was there, but all of a sudden Barb and Hawk are ready to lock up. And out comes Road Warriors music again. I'm saying, what the heck? It was Animal. And he had a hockey mask over his face because he had that injury that was painted in the spider. He comes out to the ring. He gets in the ring. He tags Hawk. They go around the ring and they stop. And also Animal looks at the crowd. He rips that mask off. His face is painted underneath with the spider. Okay. He threw that mask to the goddamn crowd. We didn't start the match for about 15 minutes. They fought for that mask. Yeah. They fought for that mask, man. They wanted that mask. Yeah. Yeah. And so anyway, we get it started. We get disqualified, but we keep the belts. Mm. And of course, the people at this time hated us. And so we go to the back, and Barb goes up to Dusty, and he goes, Dusty, he says, we go to WWE Monday or WWF Monday. Mm. And Dusty's jaw just dropped. Yeah. Because we had all these matches with the Warriors coming up, Yeah. Animal comes up, gives us a hug, and says, guys, good choice. Because we weren't going to be falling off those. We weren't going to be falling off those. The thing that was in the air at that time. Yeah. Scaffold matches. Yeah. We weren't going to be falling off those scaffolds. You guys were. So good choice. Yeah. Yeah. And we took off that Monday. And the funny thing is, the next Saturday night, again, WWE was in Baltimore Arena. We were there, but the people didn't know we had come to the WWF yet because we hadn't been on TV. Yeah. And so they sneak us into the arena and they announce Demolition with Fuji. They go to the ring and also they put on our music and we come out and the people went crazy. One week they wanted to kill us. Yeah. The next week they loved us. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, only in professional wrestling can that happen. Yeah. I mean, it was what a difference. Yeah. And the people found out now we're in WWF and that's a week later, Yeah. I mean, it was just an incredible week that week. Incredible. Yeah. It sounds remarkable. Yeah. Cause you were the baby faces for a while. Yep. Until what was it? Yep. Survivor Series when Fuji came. Series, yep. Yeah. That was it. Yeah. But I want to ask because the rights to the Powers of Pain and then the contract situation. So I presume there wasn't a contract with the NWA. And that you guys own the Powers of Pain. Yeah, we own the Powers of Pain. Okay. All right. Wonderful. So I just want to clear that up. And then what was it like switching to the WWF style of programming? Because like you said, it's more gimmick based.
So
Yeah.
was that a hard transition to make, or?
Not not really, you know. I mean, it really wasn't a hard transition at all in that stuff, you know. Um, Barbie pretty much just kept our thing up. We were just hardcore.
Yeah,
We did the big power moves,
yeah,
and we just kept that up in that stuff, you know.
yeah.
Um, it really wasn't that much of a transition for us.
Okay. And in terms of the locker room, like obviously Axe and Smash, they're kind of like a counterpart to the Powers of Pain and Legion of Doom. So what was it like meshing with them now?
Oh, they're great guys, man.
Yeah.
Bill had been around X, he'd been around the business forever.
Hmm.
What an incredible wrestler.
Yeah.
And Barry had played, he was Crusher Khrushchev
Hmm.
in NWA.
Yeah.
And then he got the big jump over to go to WWF and join up with Bill and become the Demolition.
Hmm.
Of course, Barry being an incredible wrestler too, and that stuff,
Yeah.
And our styles they went together very very well, on that.
Yeah.
So it was a very simple
Hmm.
thing to do on that.
Hmm.
In fact, all the tag teams, if you worked with say like you work the Heart Foundation,
Hmm.
Brett, he would work around you.
Hmm.
Anvil will go more hardcore with us, and that. So Jimmy was a big boy.
Yeah.
Bushwhackers, they were a gimmick.
Yeah.
So we'd help them with their gimmick and that stuff. They bite you on the butt and
Yeah.
do their thing and that stuff. But the people loved it.
Yeah.
So you give them their gimmick things and that stuff, and then we do our little power things and that stuff. And you just kind of worked each other in that.
Yeah.
When you finally get to the point you understand things, and there's a reason why everything is the way it is,
Mhm.
it makes everything so easy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you took me back when you were mentioning all those names. It was a fantastic time for tag team wrestling in the
Yes,
day.
it was best tags, all these tag teams. Every person went together with the other person.
Yeah.
It was so incredible how everything just united so nice.
Yeah. I mean, and also because I mean, you saw that in the first two Survivor Series.
Yeah.
You were able to fill out what was it, two 10-man tags, and
Yep.
and like you said, you had the Killer Bees, Powers of Pain, the Young
Yep.
Stallions, the British
Yep.
Bulldogs. I mean, and everyone, and that's the thing that I had that was a pet peeve of mine later years, is they would just throw two guys together,
Yep.
didn't wear the same costume.
Yep.
To me, it
That
wasn't
was my pet peeve too, man. You throw two guys and their styles don't even go together and that stuff.
yeah,
And then it's like a fight out there between the two of them.
yeah,
It's like a fight. You can't go together, man.
yeah,
You have to be you have to be able to go together when you're a tag team. You have to understand one another, each other's style,
yeah.
and how to make them work together.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us a little bit about some of those early matches. Tell us about the Survivor Series, actually, because I definitely think the first two Survivor Series were standouts.
Yeah.
And obviously you had the Big 10-man. The second one was when you made the switch and Fuji joined you guys. So can you recount a little bit about that night, the excitement behind it, and all
Oh,
that?
that was huge. Just to be able to do all those tag team, man. I mean, you're up there with the Heart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, Demolition. Anybody that was anybody in tag team wrestling was on the apron.
Yeah.
Um, just to make it make sense
Mhm.
and to have it keep flowing right was
Mhm.
so much, because it went an hour
Yeah.
and just so much going on all the time, and everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Everything. And it was just an incredible match because it did go perfect.
Yeah.
And then at the end, of course, the hardest thing though is at the end, because everybody, sorry, everybody wanted you know Fuji to turn babyface,
Mhm.
and actually Fuji stayed heel, and we turned heel,
Yeah.
and Demolition turned babyface. So when we left, everybody was yelling that they loved us with
Mhm.
Fuji and that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going, guys, we're heels, we're heels, and
Yeah.
all the people are cheering and cheering us. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So for the next 3 weeks before we did our next TV, we had to go ahead and get involved in. We do our match, and then we have to get involved in another match where a nice name babyface will win, and we have to hit the ring and beat the heck out of him and lay him out to let the people know we're heels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're working. So for the Survivor Series, we had to work double every night to get it over. So it was actually a rib on us because we
Yeah.
had to work twice as hard to get it over. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it was a lot of work. It was a
Yeah.
lot of work for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. But that led into you guys going into WrestleMania 5 when Fuji tagged with you. I remember that.
Yep.
That was epic. That was at the Trump Plaza,
Yep.
WrestleMania 5. What was that day like?
Oh God, that was so much fun. I mean, it was just cool to go. First of all, going to Atlantic City.
Mhm.
Number two, going to Trump Plaza.
Yeah.
Number three, just being in your first WrestleMania. I mean, I'd watch it on TV, but to actually be there
Mhm.
is, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much going on everywhere.
Yeah.
And at that time, it wasn't even big like it is now. Now it's like it's like going to the Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
Same thing now.
Yeah.
But back then, it was so cool, man. It was just so much fun, and just to get in that ring, with Demolition, having Fuji as our partner was just so much fun. And that, I enjoyed it. I really did. It's something you have to be a part of in it to actually understand.
Yeah. I mean, you guys made such an impact during that year, 1989. The culmination of that was the Survivor Series where you were with Hulk and Jake the
Yeah.
Snake. I mean,
Yep.
you were, effectively the main event.
Yep.
And what was that like? What was your relationship like with Hulk?
Oh, Hulk. Listen, Hulk was the golden goose, man. You wanted to be on every show because it was gonna be packed.
Yeah.
So we called him the golden goose and that stuff.
Yeah.
Hulk again. A lot of people don't realize. Yes, Hulk was a gimmick, but at the same time, he could wrestle. I've seen his matches in Japan, and Hulk could wrestle.
Yeah.
He really could wrestle. It's just that he didn't have to wrestle in the WWF because the way that the WWE was, it was actually him being better at being a gimmick the way he was. And when you watch Hulk's matches, they're the same finish every match.
Yeah.
He blocks a punch, hits you, blocks a punch, hits you. Boom, boom, boom. He throws you, gives you the big boot.
Yep.
Comes up the rope, does the big leg.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter because it's what the people want to see.
Yes.
Every single night.
Yeah.
And they go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it never got old. Done right, storytelling, psychology, it never got old.
That never got old.
Never got old.
Hulkster was just, what he did in his life. Of course, Rocky gave him the big break. Rocky 3. And but he had the right look, the right time. He was there. Everything was in line for Hulkster.
Yeah.
And no one will ever have a bigger name in wrestling than Hulk Hogan. He's a top 10 name in the world. You say Hulk Hogan, everybody knows Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't like Muhammad Ali. Everybody knows Muhammad Ali. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. And you were right up there with him. I also remember there were a couple of Royal Rumbles, I think it was 90 and 91 where it was you two both times. I think he eliminated you both times, I think, from what I remember.
He got me in the one in Houston. He got me in less than a second.
Yeah, I remember.
It was funny because he gave me a clothesline backwards over the top rope.
Yep.
Now, at the beginning of that day, I'd never done that in my life yet in the business. So we got there earlier that day, and Fuji says, Warlord, I'm going to teach you how to go over rope backwards. So we kept doing it. And I didn't have the other pants, but my jeans, I split them all to pieces. I mean, they were split in pieces, man.
Yeah.
But I learned how to go over the rope backwards that day.
Yeah.
And when I did it came out perfect because I went over rope backwards, came out, landed right on my feet.
Yeah.
I came to the ropes. I turned to the people. I gave that big bicep pose I always did. Yeah. I turned, there was Hogan right there with that clothesline. Boom, right back over, land on my feet, and give a big pose to the people again.
Yeah. It was effortless. You came, I think they actually used it from what I remember for Coliseum Video for one of the trailers or something. Yeah, it was.
But it's like everybody will ask me about it. I said, you know what? They said, what did I say? I said, how did I said, you know what? I got eliminated by the biggest name ever in professional wrestling in less than a second. I have no issue with that.
Yep.
None.
Yeah.
Not so ever.
Yeah, it was good. You were right up there. So that brings us into 1990. So now, I think the last time I recall seeing the Powers of Pain was right before, because the Barbarian was still doing his face paint at WrestleMania 6, from what I remember. But then after that, SummerSlam 90, you were the Warlord, the Incarnation singles wrestler with Slick.
Right.
So what happened there? Whose decision was that to break the team apart?
Well, you never really find out the truth.
Hmm.
Um, I'm sure it's probably Vince and that stuff, because everything basically a final decision always usually come down from Vince.
Yeah.
I don't know the rhyme or reason for it. I don't know anything else. The only thing I know is they had said they wanted me to go off and work with Hogan,
Hmm.
and they had wanted Barb to go off and wrestle with Warrior,
Okay.
and kind of go that direction. And I said, yeah, that's fine, man. That's cool. And that's I got no issue with that.
Yeah.
So I just I went with the program.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you still excelled in the singles competition, obviously with Slick, that was fantastic. He seems like he would have been quite the guy to be around. What were
Oh
your
yeah.
like with him?
Oh, Slick was great. Slick is a talker.
Yeah.
I just saw him actually a couple weeks ago at a signing.
Yeah.
And he's got his congregation and that stuff, in I think he's in Kentucky now.
Yep.
Big congregation up there.
Yeah.
Doing very well in that. I'm glad for him. I mean, the guy's a good person. He's got a great heart, and he's one of those guys who got a gift of gab. He
Yeah.
can talk.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he can talk. He can sing too. Remember his theme
Yep.
song? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was another thing there. So okay, so now you're in the singles mode, but actually I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors coming in. So what was that like seeing your friends come in and now work in the same organization as you? What was that like?
Oh, it was nice. I was happy for him and that stuff, man. Like I say, Joe and Mike were two of my closest friends, especially Joe.
Yeah.
Joe and me were very close.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see him come over.
Mhm.
You know, the only bad thing is that WW kind of you know, kind of just held them back some for them, because
Mhm.
they were go getters. They were boom 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 boom,
Mhm.
and it wasn't the same in the WWF. They wouldn't let them do a lot of things that they
Mhm.
did
Yeah.
in NWA and that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was nice seeing them.
Yeah.
I got to travel with Joe a lot, and I always love talking to Joe and that, because I get a lot of ideas from Joe,
Mhm.
and just good conversations.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. And what's remarkable as well is that, Warlord, the time frame when you guys made all these impacts, the Powers of Pain, the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, it wasn't like, it wasn't like 20-year stretch. It was a few years, but it just goes to show the impact that it made, the way it was done very well to perfection, hasten I say, that now we still talk about it almost 40 years later. It's remarkable, to think that. I was just thinking the other day, like it was basically like 3 or 4 years, but
Yeah,
it's stood. Whereas some guys have had a career for 20 years, it doesn't feel like 20 because it didn't have the same impact as what you guys had. It was done so very well.
yeah.
As a singles run, did you have as much fun or did you miss being in the tag team with the Barbarian?
Listen, I love tagging with Barb.
Yeah.
Barb's my brother.
Yeah.
Um, we're still together to this day.
Yep.
What, 30, 37 years later now? Yeah,
Yep.
37 years later, man.
Yep.
And we actually still step in the ring and
Yep.
do stuff, and the people go crazy, and they afterwards they all go, "You still got it. You still got it." I mean,
Yeah.
we're lucky and we're gifted.
Yep.
Especially Barb. Barb to this day is still an animal. He
Hmm.
still he can still take those bumps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
Um, but I miss that and that's I miss that time.
Hmm.
Because we had such a thing together.
Hmm.
But also, it's good learning singles. Also, I
Yeah.
needed to learn more singles,
Yeah.
and I got a very good teacher at the very beginning. The first guy I got to start working in singles was Tito Santana.
Yeah. Yeah.
You couldn't ask for a better person
Yeah.
to teach you about singles wrestling than Tito Santana.
That was at SummerSlam, correct?
Yeah, it was SummerSlam, but also I worked him at a bunch of house shows,
Okay.
and then after I got him, I got Jimmy Snuka,
Yeah.
which even more so with Tito. I got two legends,
Yeah.
and actually two Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Two
Yep.
Hall of Famers I got to work with.
Yeah.
And Jimmy looks at me, goes, "Big brother, this is your time."
Hmm.
He goes, "I'm going to teach you so you can run with it now."
Hmm.
He's, "I had my time, now it's your time."
Yeah. And then another couple of guys you were partnered with. I've had him as a guest on my show, Paul Roma
Yeah.
and Hercules, Power and Glory.
Yes.
You were
Yes.
with them at, I think, Survivor Series and then SummerSlam '91. You
Yep.
were,
They were my partners.
yeah, yeah. So
Yes. And they were a heck of a tag team.
yeah,
They went to listen. Paul was very underused.
Mhm.
Paul looked incredible,
Yeah.
and he was, I mean, he was a great athlete. I
Hmm.
saw that guy when I worked with him. He would run up the ropes, not even stop. He would run up them,
Hmm.
turn around in midair, and come off and give me something. Then he'd run up as soon as I'd stagger. He would run up the other rope, turn around. As soon as I turn around, he'd give me something else. Then he'd run up the rope again the other side, and turn around and give me something else. I'd finally take the bump.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the heck he could run up those ropes and get up those ropes so fast.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
He was, I mean, the guy was a great athlete.
Yeah.
He was,
Yeah. He
you
was.
know, and Herc had really good, Herc was very good in the ring as far as, telling a story.
Hmm.
Herc was just a power person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was a strong guy.
Yeah. Oh,
Herc
yeah.
was a strong man.
You could tell definitely on camera. You could tell. I mean, and I thought that was a great pairing. Obviously, Slick being the manager of all three of you
Yep.
was wonderful. And then obviously you got to tag with the Barbarian again when you guys went back to WCW in the later '90s. What, you were the
Yep.
Super Assassins?
Super Assassins. Yeah.
Super Assassins. But so what transpired? Because even as a kid, I remember thinking, "Where's the Warlord?" It's like it was, what was it, '92 or
Yeah.
'93, and then they just. So what happened there? Was that just a mutual, or what happened?
I'll tell you, I think part of it
Mhm.
was that's when the steroid thing all came up.
Yeah.
And I was just so big, you know.
Yeah.
And listen, I got off them just like the other people.
Yeah.
I stopped taking everything in that stuff. I took them the whole time. Of course I did.
Hmm.
There's no way you can be that big, that strong.
Right.
And but there was reasons for taking it too, because the people wanted character. They wanted Warlord the way Warlord looked.
Yeah.
So I gave them what they wanted.
Right.
You're beat up, you're sick, you're tired, all this. You need something to replenish you all the time
Yeah.
to keep you going,
Yeah.
and that helped replenish your body by repairing it and that stuff, so you can keep going in that. Because we had no breaks. It
Right.
was always on the road.
Yeah.
So I did whatever it took for the people.
Yeah.
I did whatever it took. Um, but you know, it it was a tough time.
Hmm.
But as I look back on it, until this day, I
Hmm.
think it had a lot to do with all the steroid stuff at the time, because
Hmm.
I was just so big. It
Yeah.
wasn't a good looking thing for Vince at that time. And he actually did get rid of a lot of big guys at that time.
No, he did. It was
Yes, he
incredible.
did.
Yeah, I remember a lot of the guys, and I remember even as a kid being aware of that. I remember looking, I think it was Rick Martel. I remember
Hmm.
thinking, Rick looks different. I remember that in '92. He was very lean and very more muscular
Hmm.
in '91. And yeah, he,
Hmm.
he stripped away a lot of the smaller guys started coming out.
Yep.
So yeah, it was probably just more so that. But you did touch on that. Obviously, I mean, we all know. I mean, now it's very common, but also now we know that TRT is extremely important for men. Men suffer with low T.
Yes,
Um,
they do.
so again, as educational purposes, did you find that obviously, because some people will go out and they'll just take stuff without doing any background. It's important to do blood work, things of that nature, and then explain also the importance of, you can't just stop cold turkey. You have to do other things to make sure your natural testosterone levels come back up. So I'll let
Oh
you
yeah.
more for that if you can explain that.
Oh yeah. Listen, anything you want to get involved in, especially when it comes to steroids and that stuff, you got to do your book work on it.
Mm.
Understand what you're taking. Understand what it does. Understand the good things of it and the bad things of it.
Yeah.
You got to look at which way you want your body to go, whether you want to be lean and hard,
Mhm.
whether you want to be big,
Mhm.
because there's different things for everything.
Yeah.
Um, Also, at the same time, um, you I'm trying to get the word out right now real fast.
Mhm.
Um, you want to oh boy, I'm trying to think of that word. I can't think of that word right now.
Yeah.
Oh God, you. hmm, I guess I have to kind of just say you want to understand everything and that stuff. Just don't do it because you want to be a big guy
Right.
or anything else and that stuff out there. If you want to get into some sports, especially like wrestling, you you want to, like I say, you want to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and there's a reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
There always has to be a reason why you want to take steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just take them to take them, because that means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It means absolutely nothing. You know, steroids do help you when you are, especially in sports,
Mm-hmm.
because you can recoup much faster.
Mm-hmm.
You can build muscle and recoup quicker.
Yeah.
Which is, for us, was very, very important.
Yeah.
For the way we were traveling and moving around.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't advise anybody that, to take them.
Mm-hmm.
My sons have asked me, and I said, absolutely not.
Right.
No, I don't want you guys to.
Mm-hmm.
Dad did it because of what I did.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have no reason.
Right.
So don't listen to those other people in the gym or anything else in that stuff. What are they doing with their lives?
Right.
Oh, Dad, they're just lifting it. Well, then they aren't doing anything with it.
Right.
They just want to be big deal. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like I say, in ours, we had a reason for it. Football players, when they used to take it, now they're tested. But when they did, there was a reason for it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Same as baseball players, all that stuff, all of it.
Now,
I would advise anybody that, unless you have of course, bodybuilding is a different sport. Bodybuilding, if you don't do it, everybody else is going to do it. So you have no choice. You have no choice. I got a friend, a professional bodybuilder. He looks incredible. And you do what it takes. Because if you don't, that person next to you, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
But he's in a sport that it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Exactly. And that's a great takeaway. If it's not necessary, if it's just for ego or vanity, then there's no point to it.
No reason for it. None.
Also, consult a doctor, do blood work, all of that good stuff. Don't just talk to some guy in the gym, because, first and foremost, you could be buying something that's fake. So,
and the other thing is, I had a friend that bought some stuff one time, and it had bacteria in it, and he got really, really sick. He was in the hospital for 3 months and lost 40 pounds. And there's a possibility of that, because you don't know where it's coming from.
Right.
You don't know.
Exactly. So be sensible with that. Now, when you came off of that Warlord, were you still in WWE? And I was going to say, how did it affect you? How did you feel? Like,
I hurt a lot more.
Yeah.
All my joints hurt a lot more. You were a little more tired.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still young enough that you could, at that point you could still, hold on to so much. Plus, I'm Polish nationality, so Polish people are big people.
Yep.
So
we talked about that. You're still big now.
Yeah. So you can retain a lot of it yet in that stuff. You just have to learn just to move some things around a little bit, and you can't eat like a horse like you used to, where your body could take it in and distribute it. You can't do it as much anymore.
Yeah.
You got to watch your diet a little bit more.
Yeah. So we'll move along a little bit then. So you leave the WWF, you're going into WCW. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you do a small run in WCW as a singles for a while? Yeah.
No, it was a tag. It was under Super Assassins.
Just the Super Assassins as the tag. So you come in there. This was right around the time, right before or during the NWO, from what I remember. Correct?
That was the NWO was there at that time.
Yeah.
Just starting the NWO.
Just starting. So how did you like being back there? Obviously, Dusty Rhodes is there. You're back with some of your old friends there. What was that run like for you in the Barbarian?
It was nice. I love the guys there.
Yeah.
I didn't like our costumes.
Yeah.
I didn't like our gimmick. Not at all.
Yeah. It was. You could have been the Powers of Pain again quite easily.
Very easily. Yeah.
Very easily. So how did that? Were you able to voice that? Do you express that, or they just weren't having it?
They want us to be in those outfits, and I tried as much as I could in those outfits, but I hated those outfits. Barb hated them too.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody would yell Warlord Barbarian going to the ring. I mean, it's kind of obvious to hide the size,
Yeah.
And just the gimmick just didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. So how long were you guys back there for?
Maybe about 4 months.
4 months. Okay. So then after that, what happened to you after that?
I just kind of went off to independence.
Okay. All right.
Just independent wrestling.
Okay. And how long were you doing that for?
I'm still doing it to this day.
Oh yeah, well of course.
Yeah. Still do that in independent signings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the signings is a blessing. I mean, you guys are packed with signings these days, though. I mean, there's so much going.
it's gotten big now.
Yeah, yeah, it's very big, which is a blessing. Social media has been a blessing in so many ways, and it's allowed us to go back and hear some of the stories that we would have ordinarily never heard. And I think
Yep.
that that's such the biggest blessing of all. And so today, what are some of your most your biggest goals? Any the goals that you have set yourself in for the next few years? Tell us some of those.
Uh, well, right now I've been really working on for Bar Me to get many action figures, um, video games,
Hmm.
all this stuff as we possibly can.
Yeah,
Um, Something that'll be around forever
yeah,
for my kids, my family,
hmm,
my grandkids,
yeah,
everybody in that stuff, and for all the fans out there,
hmm,
Um, and just the other thing is just try being the best person I can in the world.
yeah.
Always try to keep making myself better.
Yeah, yeah, very, very good stuff. And I think again, yeah, the powers of pain, Warlord and Barbarian could certainly be, like I said, those characters that team is something that can stand the test of time. And any plans to come out to California? I'm just curious, any independent shows out here?
Not right now yet. I wish, Nessa, I like going to California. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful state. Beautiful.
Yeah, we'd love to have you out here. And well, I guess, well, Warlord, stay on the line with me. I want to have a chat with you when I go off the air. But I just
Okay.
want to say, on behalf of my generation, that grew up watching his Powers of Pain, thank you very much for the efforts, the contributions, the sacrifice that you made. You certainly entertained my childhood. You inspired me, encouraged me in many ways. So I want to thank you for that, sir.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, everybody, thank you for joining us for this episode of Victoire. I want to thank our guest again, the Warlord. It's been a pleasure interviewing him. We hope that we inspired, motivated, and encouraged you in some form or fashion. Until next time, Victor, what you must victor in your life. I'm Emir. This has been Victoire. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Victoire. I have been your host, Emir, and I would like to encourage each and every one of you to subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos. It helps us spread these inspirational stories much further. Until next time, victor what you must victor in your life. This has been Victoire.